most satisfying thing about your work, and how do you try to maintain that on a daily basis?
I think maintaining our amount of work in a daily basis is very challenging. I have, of course, all my clinical commitments, but in parallel, I also have a lot of other professional roles, for example, in ESMO and in other groups and associations, which I also think are very, very important. From the point of view of the daily activities, having all these different roles can be challenging because we cannot always be everywhere at the same time. I think it's really important to know where you are wanting to get to, being resilient, not giving up, and really going day by day. You are not going to achieve a success overnight ever.
You brought up this topic of resilience and sort of keeping going on a day-to-day basis. One of the things that people find difficult with keeping going or moving forward is being able to navigate local politics or work politics. And people may be giving up or not engaging when they encounter these types of day-to-day maybe blocks. How do you manage that in your daily work life?
I think the key here is really to try and find the solution. There is always a solution, another way of, overcoming that problem. One of the key issues is to understand the problem. It's not just someone telling you this is not possible. This is not possible because of what reason, and really understand which is the rationale behind it, because most of the times in our institutions everyone is on the same boat. We all want to succeed and our institutions to succeed, but sometimes we really have trouble to identify which is the other person's or the other side's point of view. So I think spending some time understanding the problem is key, and then trying to work together to find a solution is the next part of the problem-solving process. I really think that all the problems can be solved if we understand them properly.
Do you think there are barriers or these kinds of issues that present later in one's career? And particularly when somebody is new to the career, what do you think are some of the roadblocks they encounter every day? And how would you advise them to move forward with those?
To be honest, I think the problems are very similar, regardless of which stage of the career you are. They are different more in terms of the repercussion that they may have or the severity. I think the techniques and the skills you develop during your career, they could be exactly the same style of problem-solving process, but really evolving in the complexity of the problem. So I don't think the problems are different. They are just more complex, but probably with a really very similar reason underneath.
Another really topical area is this idea of work-life balance, or I prefer to say work-life integration. How do you marry both work and life responsibilities, and what supports do you have around you to try to navigate that?
I think we all have our family and our friends that when we are outside of our work environment are really the key holding tool that we have for our lives, and I'm very grateful for having all that. I also think that for example at the moment it's really challenging to have a good work-life balance, and we sometimes struggle, and it's really easy for us to spend more time at work because the work never ends. So what I learned is the work never ends and nothing happens if you don't do something today. So you have to differentiate between what is important and what is urgent. And urgent things may have to be done, but the important things are also really relevant. I think prioritizing, understanding how you work, multitasking is really important. Those are tools that we really have to develop. That will allow you to really have a little bit of protected time, and you do have to protect your time because, as I said, work never ends, and if you don't protect your time for yourself, no one will do it.
So maybe a little bit more about the human that is Dr. Lamarca. What are some of the things you like?
I love listening to music. I'm always with some music in the background, and going to concerts is probably, something that I do a lot. Now, since I'm back to Madrid, I spend a lot of time going to concerts, and it's really good because you may have a long day at work, but later on there is always a little bit of time that you spend for yourself.
Nice to have a bit of creativity. Okay, well, thank you very much for this
Thank
very
you.
enlightening interview.
Thank you very much for the invitation and for having me.